Welcome to Sports Corner with Ralph Williams and Smokin' Jim Frazier. And now here's your host, Ralph Williams and Smokin' Jim Frazier.
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire Stick TV, Facebook, and YouTube. Get all your sports news here first. The daily podcasts are Ken and Ken in the Morning, Lions Talk with Smoking Jeremy B, Wrestling Roundup, The Big Football Show, and more, Shield TV, Lions Villain Report, and Red Zone Rant. The afternoon podcasts are Valhalla, Grosef Sports, WCFL Dolphins Talk, The Cheap Seats, The Bodkin Show, Spirit of Detroit Podcast, and MM Maniacs. The nightly podcasts are Palace Hall Report, Frozen Tundra Network, Skull Gang 365, The Huddle Sports Network Open Mic, First and 10 with Foz, Main Event Football Show, Prime Sports World, The Man Cave, Prim and Proper Sports. Spitballing Podcast, Lions Fan Cave Chat, Puckett, 313 Den Podcast, The Guys Huddle, Shots from the Sideline, Let's Talk Sports, The Michigan Truth Sports Podcast, Off the Rails. NFC Northeast, Power Hours, and Detroit Lions News. Make sure you follow, like, share, subscribe, and comment. Hope you like all the shows.
Time after time, I've done my sentence.
Yes, indeed. There's been a lot of mistakes. And today, we're here to talk about those mistakes, Smokin' Jim and I. You are watching the Sports Corner show here every Tuesday, right here on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, X platform, and the Kick Network, and also on the Huddle Sports Network as well. Smokin' Jim and I are going to be talking about the 2022 Steeler draft, because not one player is left from that draft. They are all either on other teams, got cut, or whatever. And today, the final one got cut today, and DeMarvin Lewell. All right, so I want to let everyone know this now. All right, this is the final cut of this. And who's to blame? Is it Mike Tomlin? Is it Kevin Colbert? It was his final draft. We're going to talk about that today. Players that got cut by the Steelers today. As you know, today is cut down day by 5 p.m. They got to have they got to be down to 53-man roster. Wide receiver Ronald Wood was cut. I do know that, and a few other guys. I was surprised at Cameron Johnson. All this we're going to talk about coming up, and also we're going to talk about Pitt versus Duquesne this week and their schedule. Smokin' Jim and I are going to break their schedule down and find out what kind of record we believe they're going to have this year for Pitt football in the ACC. All right, Smokin' Jim Frazier, welcome to the program. How are you today?
Hey, thanks, Ralph. I'm ready for this one.
All right. Also, I want to thank Ken and Ken in the Morning on the Huddle Sports Network for letting me come on their show. I was supposed to be on with them this morning again. I was on yesterday in the morning, 11 a.m. Check out the archive version on my YouTube page. All right. I was on with them yesterday, and I was on with them on last Friday. So check out my YouTube channel, the archive version of Ken and Ken in the Morning, and I will be on with them consistently. I was supposed to be on with them this morning, but I had something that came up here at my house, and I had to take care of. So I was unable to be on the program. So, I couldn't be on this morning. All right. One thing I do want to talk about today is about these Steeler cuts. But what I first want to talk about in my rant today, as I started off with the show. All right, and it's a real simple one. Okay, and that is that we have a situation here where the Steelers are embarrassing. And what I mean by embarrassing is the fact that this 2022 draft has gone a bust. There's not one player left on this football team from the 2022 draft. Do you remember that draft? Kenny Pickett was number 1. George Pickens was number 2. DeMarvin Leal was number 3. None of these players are with the team anymore. They drafted that guy in the 7th round, a Jokabu or whatever his name was. All right. They drafted him. What did he do? He ended up in Kansas City getting a Super Bowl ring. What did Kenny Pickett do? He ended up in Philadelphia getting a Super Bowl ring. And now Kenny Pickett's gone to the Las Vegas Raiders. So how do you like that now? Kevin Colbert's last draft, he said, you know what? I'm done with the Steelers. I'm done with Mike Tomlin. I'm done with this whole thing. And I'm just going to draft Kenny Pickett. You know, the scouting staff was against this pick. But Kevin Colbert and Mike Tomlin decided they were going to go with Kenny Pickett. And I know why. And I've told everybody why. But my rant is today is, how could you waste time, waste effort, waste money, and waste a draft on a draft that was bad? And that's my rant for today. Smoking Jim's wisdom.
Hey, thanks, Ralph. I appreciate it. And great rant as usual. And I've always said the Pittsburgh Steelers problem wasn't going to be to get down to 53-man roster. The problem was going to be stopping at 53 because there's not 40 NFL caliber players on this roster. And if you look at who the Pittsburgh Steelers kept, I mean, they cut 37 players like it was easy, and it was. If you look at their roster, they could easily shave another 9 or 10 players off that roster, 13 maybe. Again, I've been saying all along, the Steelers' biggest problem wasn't to get down to 53 man. It was to stop at 53.
Okay, Adam Schefter's reporting. Thank you, Smoking Jim. Very good as always, Smoking Jim's wisdom. Here we go. The four for today so far that have been cut. Now remember, 5:00 is the final hour for the cut down. All right. So Robert Woods, it says Ian Rappaport. Adam Schefter's reporting offensive tackle Dylan Cook. I was surprised on that one because he was a good backup last year. This was no surprise to Marvin Lewell. Smoking Jim and I called this one when he got drafted. When I found out, and I told you, Smoking Jim, and you agreed with me, that this guy had soft tissue issues, injuries and stuff like that. And I couldn't believe some of the publications had him rated #1 defensive tackle in the draft. I find that kind of complicated, but guess where he ended up at? Now, this came from Jeremy Fowler now. And Ian Rappaport's reporting edge rusher Uku Leota has also been cut. All right, Smoking Jim, your thoughts on those four, and then we'll go into cuts that came on Friday or Monday and Friday. Go ahead.
None of them were NFL caliber.
That's a simple answer. That's why I like you, Smoking Jim. You come up with some simple answers. Logan Woodside. Evan Hull, I didn't expect him to get cut. He did a pretty good job. Lou Nichols, he was my guy to stay on the team. I like Lou Nichols. Max Hurlman, wide receiver. Lance McCutcheon, I was surprised on that one. Kevin Fulich, J.J. Galbraith, Julian Pearl, offensive tackle. They had just signed him the week before. Offensive lineman Doug Nestor, another experienced lineman. Stephen Jones, offensive lineman. Offensive guard Aiden Williams. Defensive lineman Kyler Bach. Edge rusher Kenny Willecki or Willex or something like that. And then they also cut Mark Robinson, which was no surprise. Cam Alexander, that was a surprise because they had just signed him too a couple weeks back or whatever before the last preseason game. Kyler McMichael, Mikey Victor. Oh, these are all corners now. Darrell Porter Jr., or Daryl Porter Jr., Deshaun Jameson, cornerback, safety Quindell Johnson, long snapper Jake McQuaid. That kind of shocked the heck out of me a little bit, but there's some dots next to it, which means they're probably either going to go on the practice squad or they're going to be, I guess they have decided to keep Logan Lee at long snapper because that Jake McQuaid was brought in because of the injury to Christian Kuntz. And maybe Christian Kuntz's injury is not going to be as external as they thought. Punter Cameron Johnston and kicker Ben Sauls. Now, again, there's 1 and 2 stars beside these guys, which means they're either going to go on the practice squad or there's going to be some kind of settlement or something to that effect. So we'll see what happens or what they're going to do. Your thoughts on that lineup, Smoking Jim?
Well, clearly, there was not an open competition for position. Um, I think that Claudio said it best last week on one of our shows that he don't care how a guy gets here, whether it's a first round choice or he's a walk on free agent. You know what I mean? You should be allowed to compete. And the best running back on the team was clearly Lou Nicholson Jr.
Right.
The third. And for him to get cut just shows that no matter what he would have done, he wasn't making his team. I think it was more of a the Steelers are saving $2 million by getting rid of Johnston, the punter. So again, it came down to financials. Although both punters were excellent, but again, money shouldn't have a influence. You should be keeping the best player, and I believe that the money had a lot to do with it. But again, you read off that list. Um, Again, the Steelers' biggest problem is they continue to bring in players after players after players that probably couldn't make the USFL team, and they're trying to campaign them as NFL quality players. They don't give you a good look in practice. You're beating up on them. You're running through them in practice, and then when you get in the game, you find out, wait a minute, you know, these guys I've been practicing against look nothing like the real deal.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I do want to say that yeah, I thought Lou Nichols was going to make it as well. Christopher Cole says, "Yo, how are you, Christopher? Thanks for being part of the program as well." In our comments section, we're in the Mata Heating and Air Conditioning is our studio sponsor. We're here at Studio 10 in Berlin, Maryland, just outside of Ocean City, Maryland. 724-201-0500. If you live in Western Pennsylvania, call Mata today, 724-201-0500. And if you're interested in buying some real estate, you can do that in Ocean City, Maryland, and the surrounding area along the Delmarva Valley here. Call Mike Dotson today, area code 410-596-1681. Mike Dotson Realty. Give him a call today. All right, let's see who else we have on here. All right, let's see what we got. All right, there we are. All right, thank you, Josh Dorr, for your comments. Appreciate it, as always. Josh and also Christopher Cole are so far part of the comment section today. Thank you for your comments as well. Appreciate it. Much appreciated. So there you are. All right. All right. Let me get this out of here. Okay. There we go. Got it out of there. All right. There we are. All right. Smoking Jim. Let's talk about the 2022. Well, before we do that, I have a statement here that offensive line coach Pat Meyer is under fire after Aaron Rodgers' comments. All right. Now, this is coming from the Pittsburgh Steelers website. Okay. And it says, and I quote, this was on, hold on. Okay, here we go. The Pittsburgh Steelers have a young and developing offensive line that has seen its struggles, but the group and the team believe they're headed in the right direction. So does their quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. But after his comments about them, offensive line coach Pat Myers catching some heat. Rodgers made it known this summer that he had to let the Steelers' offensive line know they should have a little more fight for those around them. Those comments caught plenty of attention, including some of a former Steelers offensive lineman, Trey Essex, who pointed the blame to the O-line coach Meyer. Your thoughts on this report, Smoking Jim?
Well, I'm not sure how great of a coach Meyer is. I mean, since Mike Munchak left, the Pittsburgh Steelers fired about two or three different offensive line coaches. They can't seem to get it right. Myers seems like he was much better than those. But listen, you can only work magic with the play that you get. Um, and the Pittsburgh Steelers had the worst offensive line, um, maybe in NFL history, the last couple of years, and that had nothing to do with Meyer. That had a lot to do with the personnel they brought in. Now, this year, the starting line looked like it could be, um, you know, a non-embarrassment, but they have no backups. I mean, what's he supposed to do with the back? If somebody gets hurt, what is Meyer supposed to do? And I don't blame Aaron Rodgers for encouraging the line to get better each and every day because they need to get better. But I'm not going to blame everything on the offensive line when you give him no not any material to work with.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And it's an equal balance. It's coaching and it's talent. And when the front office doesn't give you the right talent, you have to work with what you can as a coach. And he hasn't had to. I mean, what do we got? Broderick Jones. Oh my. And Famatu, we're going to find out what happens to him. So, Samalu, he hasn't even come back yet, I don't think. So, we're going to find out where this offensive line is going to go. It's broken right now, and it needs to be fixed. And that's, and they better fix it fast. They better figure something out here. Either make a trade, bring somebody else in, find out who's getting dumped. I've always said this, there's always people that get dumped right after training camp. They might lose out to a rookie or something, might go to another team, have a better atmosphere they might like. Remember, every player likes Mike Tomlin now. Remember that now. Every player likes Mike Tomlin. So, I want to play for Mike Tomlin. Oh boy, 9-8. I want to play for Mike Tomlin. So there we go. 10-7 and get blown out in the playoffs. I want to play for Mike Tomlin. All right. So, those things are an important part of this whole thing. And I've said this many times: the Steelers have not had good lines of scrimmages over the years on both ends of it, whether it's defense or offense. And you're right. They've drafted poorly. You and I off camera here had a discussion about that. We're going to talk right now about the 2022 Steeler draft that ended up being a bust. And why? Because in case those of you who don't know, Kenny Pickett was traded to the Las Vegas Raiders. Okay. The Marvin Llewellyn was just cut. George Pickens was traded. All right. Your thoughts, Smokin' Jim, the 2022 Pittsburgh Steeler draft?
Well, I took a lot of heat in 2022 when I rated the Steelers draft a D. I think everybody would rate it an F now. I rated it a D. I thought that Kenny Pickett's little hands, he only had one good season at the University of Pittsburgh. I didn't think that he was a franchise quarterback or NFL caliber quarterback. That didn't stop them from drafting him in the first round. I thought Marvin Leal would be an NFL bust, and he was. So, again, when you have foresight, because everybody loved that draft, they thought maybe that was the greatest draft since the '74 draft that had Mike Webster and Lynn Swann and Stallworth and Lambert. Now they're seeing that you and I were right about that draft and many others, Ralph.
Yeah, Calvin Austin's still on the team, but always hurt. Okay. Connor Hayward's on because of his brother. All right. He stinks. Mark Robinson just got cut too. So you have 1, 2. Well, Kenny Pickett got traded. George Pickens got traded. And DeMarvin Llewellyn got cut. And Mark Robinson got cut. So that draft is, as you said, AD. Now it's turning into possibly an F. If Calvin Austin and Connor Hayward don't work out, this draft could be a bust. And this was the last draft of Kevin Colbert. So, everyone forgets about that as well. And my question, Tomlin and Colbert and Tomlin and Kahn right now, they've had some mediocre drafts, and the drafts have not been good in the during Tomlin's tenure. And I don't know if it was oversight by Colbert or if it was Mike Tomlin stepping his finger into this thing. I've said this many times. I believe that Mike Tomlin has more power than most people think in the Steeler organization ever since the Dan Snyder thing, when he come up barking up Mike Tomlin's tree to bring him to Washington. The Rooneys woke up, or Art Rooney II had panicked and went ahead and gave him more authority and more power because he didn't want to see Mike Tomlin leave. So he gave him a little more authority, a little more say in what goes on, in the whole thick of things in the organization. Your thoughts, Smokin' Jim?
Well, I agree with you. I mean, when you're around 19 years as a head coach, you earn, um, more responsibility. This is your football team. Um, you make a lot of the decisions. When it comes to drafting, um, Mike Tomlin and Bill Cowher, they probably had influence over the first two rounds. But your scouting department scouts for 365 days. Um, the season doesn't end effectively really until February. So a head coach only has February, March to go to pro days. And so they're only looking at Senior Bowl. They're only looking at the first two rounds. Now they may have a input in the later rounds in terms of what position they may need. They may say, hey, we need a cornerback at some point. So the scouting department and the GM and the director of pro player personnel will go get the best cornerback that they feel available. But Mike Tomlin, Bill Cowher, Chuck Noll, they only the first two rounds. They have no idea who's any good in the fifth, sixth, seventh round. You can't get that deep in 2 months carrying on with your other responsibilities that you have.
All right, Shane Stedmiller joins us on Facebook here, Smokin' Jim. He says, yes, sir. He said, Ralph Williams is killing it in the 2022 draft was Peter weeded out. So there you go. There you are with that. That's Shane's comments. Thank you, Shane, on our Facebook on my Facebook page as well. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitter X, and we're also on the Twitch network, and we're on the Kick network and the Huddle Sports Network as well. And we're here every Tuesday, 4 to 5 p.m. Myself, Ralph Williams, Smokin' Jim Frazier. I'm the hardest working man in media. Smokin' Jim Frazier's the man with the wisdom. He's been scouting for many, many years, and he knows all about this stuff, especially about talent and things like that. I wish more people would give him a lot more credit, but they don't. I always give him credit because I think he's a genius. So, in scouting players and telling us what exactly some of these players are. I know some of them haven't panned out over the years, and of course, some people think that that Smokin' Jim takes an L every week, but that's not always the case. But I think he's a winner here on this show, and he's a winner with me as well, Smokin' Jim Frazier. So I want to thank him for that as well. All right, Smokin' Jim, let's get into our next topic, Pitt football. They start this Saturday against Duquesne. Oh, my, Smokin' Jim, is that going to be a tough game or what? Let's sound the alarm. I think it's going to be a tough game against Duquesne. Your thoughts on this game this Saturday? We're going to work on the Pitt schedule as well. Go ahead.
Hey, thanks for the kind words, Ralph. I appreciate it. It's nice to get a pat on the back every once in a while. But I think it's really smart on Pitt's part. Pitt can't draw a crowd. The one thing about Duquesne is their alumni base is unbelievable. And the Duquesne alumni are really excited about filling the seats at Heinz Field to watch this game. It should be an 80-point blowout, but I will give Pitt credit. I don't think they've played each other since the 30s. I give Pitt credit for scheduling a team like Duquesne because they're going to make money at the gate. There should be a sellout crowd. Pitt can't sell out unless they're playing West Virginia, Penn State, or Notre Dame. Usually, if they're playing a team like Youngstown State or Appalachian State, there may be 12,000 fans there, and 5,000 was free tickets. So I give them credit for the schedule. It should be a blowout. In my opinion, it shouldn't count towards the BCS as a quality win. It probably will for a bowl game, but I give them credit because, trust me, the Duquesne University Alumni Association is really excited about this game, and they're going to come out and they're going to represent.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I hope they do. Uh, you know what? I'm trying to find the schedule here, and I thought I had it here, but I do not. I have to go into something here. Let me find their schedule. We're gonna break their schedule down here right now, Smoking Jim, uh, because it's a lucrative schedule. People are saying they could go 8-4, but we'll see what kicks with this. Let's start off with, as you know, Duquesne. September 6th at home, Central Michigan. What do you think about Central Michigan against Pitt? Go.
Well, Central Michigan's always a competitive team. Um, Lou Nichols come from there. Antonio Brown came from there.
Right.
Don't forget, J.J. Watt played one season there at tight end. So they recruit decently, but Pitt should blow them out.
All right. Next we have they're at West Virginia with Richie Rod back in the fold, and we're going to try to get Shane Stettmiller on here to talk about this game, September 13th, West Virginia. Go.
West Virginia is going to kill Pitt. The fans will be. I mean, I don't know if you ever been to a game at Mountaineer Stadium, but it's a different animal. And the fans is going to come. They're going to be ready. They're going to be burning couches and furniture, and there's no way they're going to lose to Pitt at West Virginia. So that's Pitt's first loss.
Yeah, and Richie Rod's going to be looking for his revenge from that 13-9 game that everyone still teases everybody about. So with the game when Wannstedt was coach. Louisville at home. Go, Smoking Jim.
Louisville's underrated this year. I think Louisville may be one of the surprise teams. Pitt is playing them where?
At home.
They got to find a way to bounce back after the West Virginia loss and beat Louisville. Louisville's not going to be easy this year. They're going to be one of the surprise teams.
Okay, next, Boston College and Bill O'Brien, head coach there. Go.
Bill O'Brien screwed a lot of players in the short time he's been at Boston College. He didn't play Dino Tom in one snap as a 6-year senior last year. They had a wide receiver that transferred from Texas Tech by the name of Gerard Johnson. At 6'5", 220 pounds, he hardly got a chance to make an impact at Boston College. He transferred to Kansas State, and this past weekend he had a 65-yard touchdown, a tremendous catch and run touchdown. So I don't know what Bill O'Brien's problem is. He's wasting a lot of talent at Boston College. Maybe he don't like the portal. I don't know, but he doesn't seem to be playing the guys who come into the portal. I know he's I know he knows football, and he's done well um, as, as an assistant coach. But I think Boston College would be in favor of getting rid of him sooner than later. I think Pitt beats them, Boston College, no matter where they play them at.
All right, next at Florida State. Mike Norvell's on the hot seat down there. They had a good year a few years back. Last year, they stunk up the joint. He hasn't really, I mean, they haven't really done well except for that 1 year down there. And I hear he's on the hot seat down in Florida State. At Florida State, I don't know if Pitt wins this game or not, Smokin' Jim. It's hard to win down there. Your thoughts? Go ahead.
Florida State's going to beat Pitt.
Okay, at Syracuse, Fran Brown, very impressed with them. They had a better record than Pitt last year. They also, despite the loss to Pitt, they came back, went to a bowl game, won the bowl game. Fran Brown's doing a really good job there for his first season last year. Your thoughts on Syracuse at the Carrier Dome?
Syracuse is tough, man. You was on them all last year. People didn't listen to you, and Syracuse opened a lot of eyes. They're a physical team. I think at the Carrier Dome, I think they beat it.
All right, Brad is checking, or I'm sorry, Blake's checking in with us as well. I want to thank you, Blake, for being part of the program. Pensman, there's Pensman. Hello, Ralph. How are you, Pensman? Thank you, and for tuning in. Okay, next, let's take a look at NC State. NC State's hit or miss. They've had some good years and some bad years. They still have the same head coach. That's going to be a home game. Last time I seen them play NC State at home, it was a few years back, and they lost by 2 or 3 points. It was Kenny Pickett was still with the team. I think it was during COVID, the COVID year. They had lost by like 1 point or something at Acrisure Stadium. Your thoughts on NC State?
I think NC State and Pitt should be a really good game. I think that if the running back stays healthy, Reed, and the quarterback shows some of the flashes that he showed last year, I think Pitt could come out of there with a victory.
Okay, what about Stanford? And this is at Stanford, okay? And guess who Stanford's head coach is, Smokin' Jim? Frank Reich.
That's right. That's right. Just
Frank
for
Reich.
1 year.
Yeah, Andrew
Just
Luck
for the 1 year.
is the GM down there. As soon as he got down there, he fired the coach and installed Frank Reich, who was originally signed to be the offensive coordinator there. And all of a sudden, they made him there. Of course, they're friends from back in the Colts days, from the Indianapolis Colts. Stanford just was involved in a dogfight this past Saturday against Idaho State, and they almost lost. So I'm wondering if Pitt could go to Stanford and win this game. I don't know if we're going to find out how good Stanford really is. They got into a real bad dogfight against Idaho State. Your thoughts on Stanford? Go ahead.
Hey, do you first know who Frank Wright backed up at?
Yeah, he backed up Jim Kelly at in Buffalo.
No. Do you know who he backed up at Maryland?
Who?
Do you know who he backed up at Maryland?
No.
Boomer Esiason.
Get the heck out of here, for real. I didn't know that.
Do you know who backed him up at Maryland? Who was Frank Wright's backup?
Oh, I see. Okay, I didn't know. No, I didn't know that. Okay, thank you.
No, do you know who Frank Wright's backup was?
No, I did not. I'm sorry. I don't know.
Neil O'Donnell.
Oh, get
So
out of
that's a
here!
little history
Wow.
there. Yeah, they
Yeah.
had 3 really good quarterbacks in a row there at Maryland. But I think by the time
Oh, I'm sorry. Pensman corrected me. Stanford lost to Hawaii. I'm sorry. They lost to Hawaii.
yeah, that was a good game.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought they played out. Somebody played Idaho State and almost got beaten. I can't remember who it was. So
But I think by the time Stanford plays Pitt at Pitt, Frank Wright is playing for his job. I think they'll give him an extension at some point this season. and lock him in. But I think they'll beat Pitt at Stanford.
Okay, senior day at Heinz Field, or I'm sorry, Acrisure Stadium. Number 6, Notre Dame. Last home game of the year, Notre Dame. I think Pitt's going to get blown out in this game. That's just my thoughts. Go ahead, Smoking Jim. Go.
Why in the world would you make your senior day Notre Dame? Oh my goodness. There's no there's
Wait.
nothing written in stone that says the last game has to be senior day.
Hold on a
Notre
second.
Dame.
I'm wrong. I'm wrong on that one. Wait a minute. Maybe I'm wrong. I think I am. Hold on. Because I had the schedule up and something was blocking this other thing here. Hold on a second. I can let me put it down here. There we go. No, I am wrong, Smoking Jim. But it's against another tough team. Wait till you find out who it is, who might not be so tough this year. But next, they go to Georgia Tech after the Notre Dame game. They go to Georgia Tech. Brent Key is on the hot seat down there. Their coach. They're tired of mediocrity. Your thoughts on Georgia Tech? I think they'll beat Georgia Tech.
I'm wondering why the coaches on the hot seat. They did really good last year against. They had a good season last year and played really well against Georgia.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. I think this would be a good year for Georgia Tech. But if the coach is on the hot seat, like you said, that could open the door for Pitt to upset them. On paper, right now, I'm gonna say Georgia Tech wins that game.
Yeah, they could. Because Brent Key's got Narduzzi's number. So we'll see what goes on here. All right, the final game of the year, and this is the senior day. November 29th, Miami comes to Acrisure Stadium. Your thoughts on this game? Miami of Florida.
Well, I'm glad it's 2 weeks after Notre Dame. A lot of times, Notre Dame's going to pack the house. There won't be an empty seat at Acrisure Stadium. And a lot of times, you have a letdown the very next week. It gets up for Miami. It's senior day, so it'll be emotional. The first half should be very competitive. But Miami, I think, just had too many weapons.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I believe they have too good of a team. Mario Cristobal's going to have to figure out what he's doing without Cam Ward this year. So they always have a good defense under Cristobal because he's a good defensive mind. So we're going to find out what happens down there in Miami this year with this game. But I apologize, Smoking Jim. UNLV was the team who was in a dogfight with Idaho State. I got the teams mixed up. And I don't know if you know who coaches UNLV, Dan Mullen. Remember him from Florida?
Yeah.
He's their head coach. And they got into a dogfight, a literal dogfight with Idaho State this past Saturday.
Wow.
So, and I'm sure Smoking Jim will be joining myself, Pensman Sports, and Brian Pettit, as we're going to get a Sunday show going where we're going to it's going to be called College Football Preview, college football. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about all of the different teams that played that day, the scores. We're going to break down games for the following week. It'll be on Sunday, but we haven't determined the time yet with we all have to get together and determine the time. Plus, it's interfering with Steeler post game too, so we're going to have to figure that out as well. So we'll see what happens with that.
Ralph, who did Iowa State play this week? I know they played somebody.
Yeah.
Maybe they played Kansas State. That's who Kansas State played, I think.
Yeah, they hold on a minute. Yeah. Matt Campbell's got them going pretty good. Yeah, they beat them 24-21.
Okay. That was a good game.
Yeah, it was a good game. That was a real good game. They play South Dakota next week. And then the week after, they play Iowa. So that's going to be an interesting dogfight right there. Iowa State, Iowa, that's always a very good rivalry type game anyway, which I wish they would bring the Pitt-Penn State rivalry back. That's supposed to be coming back, I believe, in 2027 or 28. And that's
you know how I blame that on?
Yeah, Joe Paterno.
No, I don't blame Joe. The governor can make them play.
Oh yeah, well the
In
governor's
other,
making them play
yeah,
now. Yeah, but I do
yeah,
remember.
in other states, the governor steps in and makes those rivalry guys play.
Yes,
You know, so I blame the governor. He should have stepped in and for the betterment of the state, had Pitt and Penn State every year. That was during Thanksgiving, man. Everybody
yes.
looked forward to that
I
across the
I
country.
I was at a couple of them at Pitt Stadium. So
Yeah.
I was at the one where they tied 24 all, and I watched a field goal go right through the uprights. The kicker for Penn State at the time, Mike Godfrey, was the head coach. It was 24-24 tie, and that was before you had all this overtime and all this other stuff going on. And they walked away. It was 24-24. Penn State kicked a last-minute field goal to tie. Pitt had the lead at 24-21. I was
I
sitting
tell you,
behind the goalpost when the ball went through. I watched it go through.
I
So
tell you what. I think this was 1996, I believe, which is
the first year of
about
Walt
30
Harris.
years
No, Walt
ago.
Harris was in '97. Johnny Majors was
Yeah.
still the coach then in '96.
So they're playing in Penn State at Pitt Stadium, and Penn State's in a white uniform, all white uniform, and they play this guy that they didn't play much as a freshman. That was a parade All American, a guy by the name of LeVar Arrington. And
Yes, yes.
Paterno was afraid to play him because he either didn't know the plays or they couldn't trust him to be where he was supposed to be. And they had this great middle linebacker by the name of Brandon Short from McKeesport. And he kept pushing LeVar to be where he's supposed to be. And LeVar Arrington had one of the best games you ever want to see. He's jumping over people, making sacks. He's probably lined up. He's like a Troy Polamalu. He's probably lined up nowhere near where he's supposed to be. And from that point on, LeVar Arrington was a superstar wearing number 11. So that was the game that made LeVar Arrington was at Penn State, probably Penn State, which was probably one of the last games ever at Pitt Stadium. I think they blew up the stadium after that, or a few years later.
Yeah, '99 they blew it up to put up
Okay.
the Pete, and then I in 2000 was the last game between Pitt and Penn State. I saw it in the press box at Three River Stadium. Rod
Wow.
Rutherford was the quarterback, and
Wow.
yeah. In fact, I think we were doing him and Tyler Pelko, I think, or they had two quarterbacks going in and out, and Penn State had to keep putting the number of the quarterback up to get so that the players would know who it was. You know what I mean? You know,
Wow.
Penn State's on the
Wow.
sideline putting the number of the quarterback up, and I'm sitting there going, "Oh my gosh!" And I got this. I got to meet then Franco Harris, Jack Ham, and I've met Franco Harris a few times, being my association with the Vento family. And I met him that time. I got to meet Jack Fleming. Or not Jack Fleming. I got to meet Fran Fisher, who at the time had just retired after that game. And so it was interesting. Hillgrove did the broadcast along with I believe Billy Osborne was still with them, I believe. And so I got to sit in the press box at Three River Stadium. It was a blast. All the Pitt games were played there because they tore down Pitt Stadium to get ready for Heinz Field, and the rest is history from there. So we all know what happened.
Hey, do you remember a baseball player for the Pirates named J.R. House?
Yes, I
Played
do
some
remember
catcher.
him. Yes.
Now, when he was in high school, he was probably the greatest quarterback in the state of West Virginia history. In the state championship game, I watched the state championship game. He threw 12 touchdown passes in one game in the state championship game, and probably played better at defensive end than he did, or outside linebacker than he did even on offense. So he was unbelievable. When he quit the Pirates, he went to West Virginia to play football, and West Virginia had a quarterback back then from Brashear High School. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, he's not going to beat out J.R. House, and he ended up beating out J.R. House, and and he just got inducted into the West Virginia University Hall of Fame.
Oh yeah.
This past off season. So again, everybody don't have to run and transfer.
No.
He stayed and competed, and he beat out J.R. House. I mean, J.R. House was like a Jim Kelly type quarterback in high school, and played for the Pirates for a number of years, and everybody in West Virginia wanted him to win that job, and he got beat out. So sometimes it's better just to stay there and compete.
Oh, speaking of local teams here, but first I want to get to this Facebook comment. Brandon Keeler says, "Good to see you, Ralph. Happy Tuesday." Thank you, Brandon. Brandon is the man who is the host of the Sports Nuts Show. They are on. Check out their Facebook page and their YouTube channel, Sports Nuts. It's pronounced Nutz. Pensman Sports is on there. Brian Pettit from the Tiger Stripes Network. And also, I want to urge everyone to please help these guys out with their Facebook and with their Twitter platforms, and also please help these guys out with their not only Twitter X but subscribers on YouTube. Help Pensman; he's trying to get to a certain goal. So is Brian. Help them out as well. Tiger Stripes Network, and help those guys out. We all try to help each other out in this business, unlike the rest of the media business in this town, or in Pittsburgh and all around the surrounding areas there as well. So, all right, Smokin' Jim. West Virginia this week plays Robert Morris. Your thoughts on that game? Robert Morris versus West Virginia. Go ahead.
Well, I'll tell you what, the coach for West Virginia, Robert Morris, is a friend of the show. I mean, he's one of your friends.
Yes.
Great guy.
Yeah, Bernard Clark. Yes.
Professional football player. But Robert Morris should have been fired him. He has no idea what it takes to win in Western Pennsylvania. And that's no knock against him. Some schools, you just have to hire a guy that has some roots in this area for recruiting. For them to lose to Edinburgh last year,
yeah, I know.
I believe it was at home, was no excuse.
I watched that game too. I saw that it was on the CW or one of them channels. I watched your Sportsnet or something. Yeah, I watched that last year. That was sad.
He's a great guy. He got great philosophy. He got a lot of great football knowledge, but he's not right for Robert Morris, and West Virginia is going to run him out of the state.
All right.
And I'd imagine they're doing that for a payday. I imagine they're going to West Virginia and for a payday, and you probably going to get a lot of your players hurt going down there. So a lot of times that extra couple of that extra money that you get is really not worth it, because the rest of your season is ruined if you got 3-4 key players out for the next 3-4 weeks.
I remember when his quarterback got hurt 2 years ago. They went to play Air Force, and they went all the way out to the West Coast for that game, and his quarterback got hurt, and the whole season was a mess. So those things do happen. All right.
Yeah.
One last thing we're going to talk about real quick here before we wrap it up, because we got to get ready for Wrestle Talk. I will not be hosting Wrestle Talk today. We have a special guest hosting it. I have other obligations, so I will not be hosting it today. So Smokin' Jim, you'll find out who that is when you come on with them as well. So just to let you know, it's kind of like a surprise for everybody. All right. Penn State plays Nevada at home this Saturday. What do you see there?
Penn State is loaded. Penn State is loaded this year. They're my outside favorite to win the national championship. I think a surprise team this year would be Alabama. Nobody's talking about Alabama, but they're absolutely loaded. But I look for Penn State. They got 2 really good running backs, 1 great running back. And if the quarterback's anything like he's being touted, if he plays anywhere near as good as Todd Blackledge played back in 83, 82, Penn State got a chance to win the national championship.
We will see. James Franklin's known to come up short, but we'll find out. They also expanded they did some renovations to Beaver Stadium. I'm told if you think it's going to be crowded now or sold out now, wait till you see these all the new seats they added and whatnot, and additions and whatnot to the stadium. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do this year as well. Smokin' Jim, any final comments before we wrap it up?
No, great show as usual, Ralph. Great topics, man. You did a great job.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And thank you as well for being part of the show. All right, stay tuned. Coming up at 5, Wrestle Talk. Oh, my gosh. Does the special guest that I have filling in for me for us, Wrestle Talk and Smokin' Jim, it has a lot to talk about. And let me explain here. Forbidden Door. Oh, wait till you hear what happened there. The AEW pay-per-view coming up this week. The Clash in Paris coming up on Sunday. Raw last night, and SmackDown coming up this Friday. Oh my gosh, matches. There's still more matches being created for the the Paris event coming up on Sunday. I gotta tell you, what a show we have, or they're gonna have for you. Again, I have another obligation, and somebody will be filling in for me, and you'll see who it is when the show comes back. I'm Ralph Williams for Smokin' Jim Frazier. Thank you for being part of the program. And as always, please be safe. Well, until next week, have yourself a great one.